So I'm going to introduce the next performers. We have Audrey, Thao, Berger, and Noah Wang. They're going to perform All That We Hold in an attempt to understand the complexities of their present. Dance artists Audrey, Thao, Berger, and Noah Wang are turning to their past. Their ancestors, with whom they share lineage and cultural understandings, have generational experiences of their own that have defined them in profound ways. All That We Hold is the result of many intimate family interviews and conversations. The work explores the transformation from invisibility to radical visibility and shame to acceptance. These unearthed stories became the seeds of inspiration for embodied improvisation, movement, material, and choreographic choices. So let's give it up for Audrey and Noah.
The sense of softness brought us a lot closer.
I grew up a lot
Does
different.
that make sense?
We had just come from.
I've got it.
She said, striving for an education, but holding on to family ties.
Wave me away from all the little blessings that are sprinkled throughout the every day.
Most others had
But the
come
reality is, in order to
further
be
than I've
available
ever
for
seen.
everyone else, you also need to tend to
Pending
yourself.
below, pending barely.
And breathe.
Was
I
still more
breathed.
Geary. She didn't.
I crawled into myself, and the risk taker was no
She knew
longer.
herself. It was probably for the best.
Now that I think about it, breaking down, while my life as I knew it was
For me,
disintegrating.
it was merely a fact of life.
My body is a container of all that I hold. My experiences, my thoughts, my ability to empathize due to the tender care and compassion exemplified by the imprints of the resilient lives of my ancestors.
Auntie Sue lays out near the bottom of the stoop, sunlight glazing her bare calves beneath gray capris. Her dark hair, longer than I've ever seen it, is clipped back, barely extending below her neck. A Golden State Warriors lanyard that holds a ring of keys and a metal coach whistle drapes down to her stomach. I grew up a lot different from them, she said, them being her siblings. I had it the hardest because we were the poorest. We had just come from China. To this day, she has a distinct love for chicken feet, a meal that got them by in their earliest days here. Papa, who worked at a sweatshop in Chinatown, knit sweaters for her children. When their sneakers grew holes, they patched them with cardboard. But we were very lucky, she said. Dad flew us over. Most others had to come by boat. From what I can tell through stories and pictures, Fred was a handsome, stoic man. He arrived in the US barely a teenager and got a job as a servant for a white family in San Jose. Back and forth he would travel across the Pacific, striving for an education here, but holding on to family ties back in Guangdong. Eventually, he anchored down in a small apartment in Oakland. He sent for Papa and their 2 daughters at the time, Sue and Kate. After years of fumbling business ventures, including a suit shop in the heart of Chinatown, he owned a liquor store on the corner of Fillmore and Geary, where the freeway dips beneath the street. I'll never forget what happened to me at primary school in Oakland, Sue continued. I didn't speak English, so a white boy shoved me against the wall, teased me, but then a black girl came to rescue me. Her name was Patricia, and we became the best of friends. I hadn't known that this was how Auntie Pat got her name, and asked if the original Patricia ever knew of this. She didn't. Soon after that incident, Sue moved to San Francisco, her heroine left behind. I wonder where life has swept Patricia, how many others for whom she has been a heroine. The family relocated to a one-bedroom apartment in Chinatown, and by the time Sue graduated high school, Fred had bought the Filbert house. He had vied for properties in Pacific Heights and the Marina, but the hostility towards Chinese residents moving in was unrelenting. It was probably for the best, Auntie Pat said, because now we know that the Marina stands on garbage. They were ascending upon the American dream until Fred became severely ill and died. Sue was married at the time with 2 children. Later that year, they divorced. In an instant, she found herself, a 25-year-old single mother, an eldest sister with 3 siblings, still children, a daughter to a widowed mother who couldn't speak English, who up until then relied on Fred to keep them afloat. My whole life, Auntie Sue has been the undisputed matriarch of our family. For me, it was merely a fact of life. Every Chinese New Year, she's planted in front of a crackling wok, armored with a red apron and a pair of chopsticks, frying her famous dim sum. But she wasn't born a matriarch. The sudden and crushing weight of responsibility in her youth, having to care and love and assist in all directions, made her so. That's why I'm the way I am. I'm very bossy, she explained. I had to run everything. Many of us encounter a string of events throughout our lives that strike us up and down, flecks of sand on our cheeks, accumulating into the pile of earth matter that we say defines us. But for Auntie Sue, life threw her a boulder, and although she's lived many unencumbered years thereafter, it's clear that it's lodged in her center. Fresh sand may have softened the edges, but the boulder remains.